MPItv. On this episode, we're taking an accelerated look at sustainability and how the event industry is helping to advance critical United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Here to give us insight is Fiona Pelham with Positive Impact Events, who joins us on the waterfront in beautiful Copenhagen. Fiona, you have been working closely with the UN on these goals, so can you give us an overview of this collaboration?
In September, Positive Impact Events submitted an acceleration action to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. The United Nations has 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which are a roadmap to the world working for everybody. Those goals are a roadmap to 2030. And earlier this year, the UN said, we don't think that we're on track. We want ideas on how we can accelerate towards that. And the work that we did took over 7,000 commitments from event professionals from 58 countries and turned that into an acceleration action on how events can be used to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals.
How is the events industry at large involved?
So with the support of IMEX, PCMA, Marit's Global Events, CVent and Oregon Convention Center, we were able to work with the UN team to create a survey which went out to event professionals around the world and enabled them to say which sustainable development goals they thought were the most important. People may have chosen SDG 13, climate change, as the most important for the event industry to deal with. Within the survey, they then got given two options of practical actions they could take. So, for example, incentivize people attending their events to use public transport or provide plant-based menus rather than meat-based. And from the data that we collected, we were able to talk about measurements and the impact that the event industry could have in terms of reaching the Sustainable Development Goals. This survey will remain open until at least September 2020, and the goal is that there'll be over 100,000 commitments to action gathered by them. Within the acceleration action we submitted to the United Nations, we suggested that the event industry would get more able to report and measure their impact, positive and negative, so that the annual sustainability report from corporate companies could now include events. We know that our industry has a lot of positive impacts, and using the Sustainable Development Goals is a way for us to talk about that.
As event professionals watch this, what are some practical actions they can take?
The practical action I'm going to ask you to take is to be strategic. So every event is different. You will have different communities involved in your events. You will have different infrastructure in your events. So rather than me saying, no plastic, or recycle, or reuse your food, the call to action I'm going to give you is to try to think strategically about how every time you make a decision with the planning of your event, it can be one that makes a positive difference. There is no right or wrong. It's just an opportunity to think creatively and strategically.
Fiona, great work, and thank you for championing this initiative with the UN. To learn more, read the full story in the November issue of The Meeting Professional, and we'll see you on a future edition of MPItv.